Welcome back into Infamously Speaking. I'm Matt Rosa, joined by Quan, and today we're talking NFL playoffs. Wild card weekend is upon us. We're going to make our picks. So before we jump into that, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Infamously Speaking YouTube channel. It does us a great service. If you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you are notified whenever we drop content like this. Also, make sure you follow us on our social media, Instagram, TikTok, for some of the short form content. With that being said, Quan, my guy, how's it going?
Going great. Can't complain. Actually, it's not going great, but I can complain. But I won't complain.
I think that was a more accurate statement than the first one that you made.
Yeah.
So
I got to get out of the habit of just responding with the natural response that we usually have when someone asks how you're doing.
I feel like you brought that up on the show.
I did.
Maybe not
so
too
I'm
recently.
going to switch it up to you and reverse the question, but I'm going to ask it a little differently, which is,
Good.
Matt, tell me what you're excited for this coming week.
I'm excited for this coming week. Obviously the football games, but we'll get into that in a minute. I won't even wait till I'm excited for this week. I'll tell you what I'm excited about right now. So my wife for Christmas bought me an Instant Pot. Now, I discovered the wonders of pressure cooking when I was in Connecticut because my dad has one. And I made my dad some quaos, which is, a Puerto Rican dish. But you make it in the pressure cooker because it's tough and you gotta boil it for a while if you're gonna boil it. But it was in the pressure cooker for like 40 minutes and it came out phenomenal. So then I told my wife, because she's like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, I don't really know. I was like, but a pressure cooker would be nice. So she got me this one. Man, I've been pressure cooking everything. I made beef stew last weekend. I pressure cooked a whole chicken on Sunday. I pressure cooked some pork adobo Filipino dish yesterday. Today I made some sausage and kale soup in the pressure cooker. They're eating that right now while we record. But that's what I'm excited about, man. That pressure cooker got me chefing it up in ways that I couldn't imagine.
That's fire.
That's
fire, man. You know what I got for Christmas? It was a Secret Santa gift. And it was a knife. Like a chef's knife and a cutting board.
Fire.
I haven't got to use it yet, but I have it. And some new kitchen tools.
I love kitchen tools.
I think when you get to a certain, you're at a certain age when you're excited that your gift was something that you can use to cook or, feed others.
I love it. But that's the joy. You just said it. That's the joy in cooking is the feeding others because you know how it is. When you cook for yourself, it's like, dang, I ain't got no motivation. I'll just have a peanut butter and jelly. Like, I have a bowl of cereal. I'll just have air. You know what I mean? You don't have that motivation to get up and do it, but you're not going to cook for my wife or my kids. And so I'm sure whenever you have a noble where you want to make sure that she eats a nice meal, I see some of the stuff y'all be chefing up sometimes. So that's the joy of it. Seeing them enjoy it. Let me turn the question back to you. What are you excited about?
I'm excited about another day.
Love it.
Being here another day. We talked about being grateful just for having an opportunity. That's what I'm excited about. But if we're talking about events, I don't have no events that I'm excited about. In fact, I'm probably more wary about most of the things that's been happening. But I am excited that on Sunday night, I will be locked in for my New England Patriots and their playoff game at home against the Chargers.
I love that it's Sunday night, too. So, you know what that means, right? It is officially the first week of the playoffs, Super Wild Card weekend, which means because the New England Patriots are in, I owe this guy Drake Maye jersey.
The MVP.
I agree with that.
The MVP.
I agree with that. We'll get into that in just a little bit, though. So I was going to ask you what game you're most excited about, even though it's obvious, right? Patriots back in the playoffs for the first time since Mac Jones' rookie year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Which, for a lot of people where we're from, are excited, or they're either excited or they're miserable because the Patriots went from a dynasty to a rebuild to a lot of promise, while the Jets and the Giants have gone to coach, to still figuring out. Now, Super Wildcard Weekend kicks off on Saturday. Rams at Panthers. This is a rematch of a game we saw a couple weeks ago where the Panthers upset the Rams. I'm curious. I'm going to ask you, what you think the outcome of the game is going to be. But first, I want to ask you is, who do you think is more confident going into this game? The Rams or the Panthers?
I would have to say the Rams just because of the experience piece. We talked about experience on a couple different shows, but I don't think the Panthers aren't confident. I think they're
sure.
highly confident. I just think to answer your question, I think the Rams are probably more confident because of the experience piece. They have a Super Bowl coach, Super Bowl quarterback. Yeah, I'm excited to watch that game. I got a question for you though, because you've been a big Bryce Young.
I'm torn.
Yeah, and you picked the Rams, and you're high on Stafford and them. So I wonder who do you want to win, and who do you expect to win if they're different, and how do you think this game plays out?
I mean, I think America wants the Panthers to win, right? Because that's just been a fun story to watch this team who on some Sundays seem like they can beat anybody in the league, and other Sundays feel like they would lose to to like an Alabama or to a Georgia. You know what I mean? Like they just seem like they can't get anything right. I think the Rams are going to win though, and the reason why I asked you the confidence question, I think it's the Rams because I remember when I played football. Obviously Norwich and London is a big rivalry. We played them twice in 1 year. We played them the second week of the season, and then we played them in the playoffs. And the first time we played them, they fucking cooked us. We lost 36-6. It was at New London, and we just had no answers for anything. They were more physical than we were. They played with a different type of hunger than we did. And we felt good because coming off of week 1, we won by like 40 points. We cooked the team that we played. But it was a real, humbling moment to go in there against a rival and just come up flat like that. And so the next time we played them, we came like, that shit's not happening again. And number one, you're like, we can't play worse than we did the first time. So there's already a base level of confidence. But then the second, it's like, we got to get back what was ours. We ain't going to let that happen twice to us. And then also, though, it also made us super aware of what they were about. Like, they're going to come with a super high level of confidence. So now we're not going to be taken off guard because we know who the opponent is. We're not going to take nothing for granted. And we're going to make sure that we show up because anything less than our best, we're super open to be able to take a loss there.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up winning like 7-6. It was a slugfest, but we showed up. We were prepared. And so I think that's how the Rams, like you said, that mentality of like, we know we belong here. They caught us by surprise. We didn't think they was going to be that competitive. I think that's what happens to the Rams. And a lot of mistakes. I think that was like Stafford's first couple interceptions and like 300 pass attempts in that Panthers game. So I think the Rams take it. What say you?
Man, I haven't really got to analyze the game.
Expected to play
healthy.
Me,
you know how I am. You see the hood hope. My heart is going with the Carolina Panthers.
I think everybody's is.
But my mind is telling me the Rams. That's going to lead to a divisional matchup in our next playoff series against the Seahawks, which will be great. They got to travel to, it's not a big deal, but they do got to travel to the East Coast.
I mean, it's real, though. It's real. But I think having done it before, like you said, the experience helps. I think the Rams, I'll tell you what, Seattle's rooting for the Panthers, not because, the only way the Rams go to Seattle is if the Bears and the Niners both lose, because they would get the lowest seed left remaining in the tournament. So, like, if the Packers beat the Bears, then the Packers would go to Seattle because they're the 7 seed.
I thought it stays within the bracket.
No, NFL they reseed.
Oh, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They reseed, so it's lowest seed, or they re-bracket, whatever you want to call it. Lowest remaining seed goes to the 1 seed, and then highest remaining seed goes to the 2 seed, if the 2 makes it up. All right, moving on to the next game. So we both got the Rams. Moving on to the next game, Saturday. We got Packers at Bears. Third matchup, series 1 apiece. Packers collapsed last time, which kind of gave the Bears the division by not recovering the onside kick. Games in Chicago. I'm curious who you like here.
Give me the Bears.
Yeah. Yep.
Give me the Bears.
Feel that.
Give me the Bears.
Any particular reason?
Yeah. I was gonna get into it. I knew he was kind of waiting.
He just kept saying it. Lights the cigar like he's Mike Ditka.
Well, that's one reason. Shout out to Mike Ditka. Nah, I think that we talked about it all through the offseason. And I told you I was high on the coach coming there. Obviously, you've seen the improvements. Caleb hasn't, I wouldn't say he's been balling, but he's been efficient, right? Big turnaround, as you talked about prior in the pre-show. I like their attack, and how they use Swift and Monangai. I feel more confident in the Bears. Yeah. And Parsons is out.
Oh yeah, well that's a massive loss.
Yeah, they're all set.
I think this is more interesting and maybe closer than maybe we think. And I think I'm leaning Green Bay here. And like I said, it's because they just played a couple weeks ago in those situations. Same situation, right? Same players. Now Jordan Love will play. So maybe I should go the Bears. I like the Packers because of experience, but also because I still think their defense is a quality defense. I think their passing attack is going to overwhelm the Bears' defense because the Bears are overly reliant on turnovers. So if the Packers can keep a balanced attack, run the ball well, which they got capable running back, Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson, they still have a lot of weapons in the passing game. All you have to do is just limit the mistakes. Limit the mistakes, don't turn the ball over, and stifle the Bears' rushing attack. And I think they have a formula for success. So ball control, time of possession, force them to pass the ball. Force them to be one-dimensional, and I think you have the recipe for success. I think the Packers come out with this one.
No.
But I do love the turnaround. And shout out to Caleb Williams for breaking the Chicago Bears a single-season passing record. Didn't quite hit the 4,000 mark, but definitely a big improvement over year one, Caleb. Just goes to show you.
Who had it? Rex Grossman?
I don't know. So, was it Jay Cutler?
Well,
Bears fans. You got to educate us. Kyle Orton. All right, let's move to the first game Sunday. This was a really good one. 3-6 matchup, Bills at Jaguars. And now, what's crazy about this, and I know this has been documented, but everybody's saying this is the Bills' best chance to the Super Bowl. Clearest path. And no Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow. So the top four quarterbacks that people had in that when we started the season, right? We had that discussion, top 5 quarterbacks.
I don't know.
Josh Allen's the only one that's in there that's made the tournament. Now, Jacksonville, since I think it's like either week 11 or week 13, has been averaging like 30 points a game, leads the league in takeaways. So my question to you, game in Jacksonville, who do you like?
Jacksonville. No hesitation.
Tell. Pulled the trigger right away. Tell me
Cam
why.
Little. They can
Weapon.
score almost every possession.
Weapon, bro.
This guy is kicking from damn near 70 yards, bro. That shit is insane.
Mr. Unlimited.
That is insane. I'm going Jacksonville. I think that they cause a lot of turnovers. I think the Bills are really more one-dimensional, to be honest with you. I think their best games is when James Cook is cooking. I don't like Josh Allen's weapons, although I love Shakur. But I think overall, Jacksonville is tough. They're a tough team. And I know Trevor Lawrence caught a lot of slack, but, you know, he's showing up now.
He's played well. So for you, is this more about what Jacksonville is doing, or is it more about the lack of what Buffalo has? Because this does feel like one of their weaker teams coming into the postseason than maybe in years past.
I think it's a little bit of both, if I'm being completely honest. It's like I said, the Bills I don't think they have enough weapons. And Jacksonville is just hot. It's like you know, you're going into any tournament. Like, that's why you like watching NCAA March Madness and stuff. Once a team gets hot, anything can happen.
That's true. Confidence through the roof. And the thing is, too, Josh Allen didn't play last week. Now, granted, I mean, he's an MVP winner. You don't really have to worry about him, staying in rhythm. He'll be all right, especially with the ability to run the ball himself.
Yeah.
But Jacksonville played all their starters yesterday. They played because they were playing for seeding. So not yesterday, this past Sunday. So no one got time off. So that could be a factor. Like you said, they're hot. I like Jacksonville in this game as well. But it's also because their run defense over the past 5 weeks or so has been super stout as well. And like you said, that's Buffalo's best path to winning. Now, granted, does Josh Allen have the ability to go Superman? Of course. We've seen it multiple times. I think Jacksonville's going to have the answers. They're going to focus on stopping the run, as crazy as that seems, against the Josh Allen-led team. And I think they're just going to, a balanced attack's going to lead them to victory. And the Bills' defense isn't necessarily incredibly dominant. So if they get behind, it's going to be tough. And I think they will.
I think that Jacksonville played, too, for that seeding for a home playoff game. Right, I think that's going to matter. I think that would be a big difference if had they had gone to Buffalo, especially this time of year. You know what I mean? Like they have Jacksonville set up for this win, in my opinion.
I agree. Warm weather team staying home and not having to go to Western New York is a big deal. Great analysis by this guy. All right, let's move on to the next game. Sunday, 4:30 Eastern. Niners at Eagles. Now, this is an interesting game. Niners, a great story this year. One of the most banged up teams, especially defensively. But, I mean, throughout the whole season, seems like the only player that they've had available the entire year was Christian McCaffrey. Imagine
phenomenal comeback from Christian McCaffrey.
Imagine going, I think they went 12-5. I believe they went 12-5 and being the 6th seed. Ridiculous. Going to Philly, which is a tough place to play. Again, another team going west to east. Who do you like this game?
It's a tough game. I got to go with the better quarterback in the Niners.
Okay.
And it's not even just the quarterback play, if I'm being honest with you. I think Christian McCaffrey's been a lot more consistent this year. Obviously, Saquon's a beast. I don't want to take anything away from him. I just talk about the season overall. Yeah. I like the Niners. I think they find ways to win. We talked about a pre-show too, where the Niners did have an even easier schedule than the Patriots. But again, you play who you have to play, and they beat the Rams too, if I remember correctly, didn't they?
Yep, they split the series with the Rams.
So they played. They played what we consider a Super Bowl contender in the Rams and got that win. So I think I got to go with the Niners. I have to. I have no trust in Jalen Hurts.
I think it's because you hate the Eagles, but I get it.
I don't hate the Eagles.
I think you do. But ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with hating the Eagles.
I would tell you if I hate the Eagles.
Hate the Eagles. I too hate the Eagles.
I don't hate them.
That's because I'm a Giants fan. So I think this game is extremely interesting because Philly's been this kind of enigma of a team, especially offensively, all year. All year. And I don't think that's just magically going to change because we got to the postseason, right? That's not how things work, obviously. The reason I like Philly in this game is because their defense. Brock Purdy can be forcing the mistakes. I think their defense, especially their pass defense, has been really dominant this year, averaging 190 yards passing per game. And on the flip side, the Niners defense is extremely susceptible with all the injuries that they have. So I don't even think Jalen Hurts needs to play a phenomenal game to take advantage of the defense. And so home field advantage, strong defense versus a so-so defense. We saw what happened to the Niners. Now, Seattle's defense is amazing. Philly's defense isn't too far behind. So I like Philly's chances at home with a great defense. Offense, I don't think has to do too much. The only thing I will say about Philly is that they can be beaten on the ground. So if McCaffrey has a big game, it might be spooky. But they just need to dominate the time of possession, let their defense eat. Get a lead, force Brock Purdy to beat you. And I think they would walk away with dub.
That's a great breakdown, but I can't.
I know you
It's
can't
not
pick the
because I hate
Eagles.
the Eagles.
And I know you can't pick. It's Jalen Hurts.
You know what's funny is like I was definitely rooting for Jalen Hurts, as Gmo loves to call out when we have these little debates. But he just looks bad.
He's been proving the haters right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. Let's. I'm gonna skip Chargers Patriots. We'll save the best for last. Let's go to the Monday night game. Texans at Steelers. This is an interesting one.
No,
because
Texans all day.
Well, yeah, obviously the pick is an easy one, in my opinion. Texans.
I thought he was picking the Steelers.
Bro, you know how fraudulent I think the Steelers are. Number one.
That's true. You always said that.
It came down to a kid missing a field goal for them to win. After Lamar missed the majority of the season, they're still fighting for the division. Joe Burrow misses a majority of the season. Lamar misses a majority of the season. Cleveland is Cleveland. And yet still came down to the last week, and you depended on a missed field goal. I don't know. I'm not sure. Now, granted, I'm not taking away. They won the division. They earned the playoff game. But you saw what happened. They had to play Cleveland with Myles Garrett on the edge, how fast Aaron Rodgers was getting rid of the ball. Now, granted, there was no DK Metcalf. He's back for this game. But Houston has arguably the best pair of pass rushers in the league with Anderson and Hunter. And oh, by the way, they got an all-pro guy named Derek Stingley out playing cornerback. So I think the defense cooks the Steelers. And the offense, now that's the wild card, is Houston's offense.
No, so people forget this. Steelers defense, I don't know what it's looked like because I haven't been around watching the games, like I said, just life, but I remember the Steelers defense, just for fantasy purposes, like I was looking to play players against their defense. I don't know if it's still as bad, but it's bad enough. And I'm actually a believer in Stroud. We talked about that all season. It's just that their line wasn't giving him time. What's crazy is how Davis Mills coming in.
Sparked
you started seeing that. Yeah, it's like, yo, we definitely got to protect this guy. Like, you know what I mean?
He has no chance.
Yeah. So I think the Texans are going to win this probably a lot easier than what people anticipate. And you and I talked about it, and you just alluded to it now. We're like, that defense is just the real deal. And we've seen it plenty of times before where defense wins championships.
For
just
sure.
Like last year with the Eagles.
I mean, Pittsburgh's defense scoring. Well, yeah. I mean, they killed Kansas City. Pittsburgh defense, I got it pulled up here. I believe ranked 17th in total scoring defense. Not great against the run. I mean, where did I see them at? I mean, 13th against the run. Not great against the pass at all. 29th against the pass. So if they don't get pressure, if they don't get pressure, Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, Higgins, Noel, they got opportunities. They got opportunities. But I also like Houston. I think Pittsburgh is that's their motto. One and done. Do just enough. So yeah, I think that's light. All right.
I gotta watch that game with my cousin. Shout out to Sam.
Let's talk about the game of the weekend. Sunday night, prime time, Chargers Patriots.
Yeah. They put that game prime time for a reason. They wanted the whole world to see Drake Maye his MVP caliber.
Drake Maye, MVP. Yeah, I mean, I think this is an easy one. I don't think we have to overanalyze things too much on this game. You see the Patriots, the way they played, and you see the way the Chargers have played, it should be an obvious pick.
We criticized a lot for this, but Ramondre, right? He cost us a few games, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And to see Vrabel not lose confidence or hope in him and him paying off, because he had a big game last week when I saw the highlights. But
he cooked.
Also, I think if you have that 1-2 kind of punch with the running back situation, it puts the defense on their heels a little bit more. You know, gives us a better chance. And you already know how I feel about Drake Maye. He finds ways. I was watching a thing a breakdown, but it wasn't just a highlight. It was more about like the statistical part of how often he has to run away. Because it was a breakdown because they was breaking down like if you put Stafford, and I'm bringing up Stafford, ladies and gentlemen, because he's in the race for the MVP with Drake Maye. But if you put Stafford in New England, what would that look like? And although the offensive line has definitely improved with Campbell and them, he still had like a one of the highest pressure rates in the league. But he's able to avoid it. There was one play where he avoided it. I forgot how long he had, but he made a phenomenal play that was like, if that doesn't tell you what he's capable of, then you're not watching football.
Yeah, no, I agree. When you talk about, dual threat quarterbacks, it's been Lamar, Josh Allen. We saw a little bit of Jackson Dart this year before he started camping out in the blue medical tent. Drake Maye is right there with them all. And he's a smart runner. You don't see him taking a lot of big hits when he runs, sliding, getting out of bounds, not really messing around. What's impressed me most about Drake Maye, the Patriots as a whole, what do great teams do to bad teams?
Fuck them up.
They fuck them up. What have the Patriots done to the bad teams? They fucked them up. Remember, the Patriots were 4-13 last year. Remember that. Last in the AFC East. Won 14 games because schedule. Yes, the loss to the Raiders, week 1. Crazy shit happens week 1. They don't get to practice as much anymore. New system, new coach. Chalk up that loss to the Raiders. And the other bad loss, the Steelers, right? That was a terrible loss. A lot of unforced errors, turnovers, bad turnovers in the red zone. And then the Bills, I think, was just a lack of focus. Lost focus. Played a MVP quarterback. They caught up to you, and you couldn't slow the momentum. But look at the bad teams that they've played. And they've destroyed them.
Mm-hmm.
They separated themselves. Meanwhile, Stafford lost to who? Atlanta Falcons, right? Carolina Panthers, who are 8-9. No shots at the Panthers, but the Patriots, didn't they win something like 30 to? Who did they killed them? Look at that Panthers score real quick.
The score doesn't even matter because I think that the Panthers have scored like later on in the game.
It's 42-13. Yeah, and they scored 7 of those points in the fourth quarter. 42-13. Right? So when you play a team that's not great, the great teams beat the shit out of them. And that's what the Patriots have done all year. They played the Giants, beat the shit out of the Giants. Played the Jets twice, killed them twice. Played the Dolphins, who, by the way, beat the Bills. Cooked the Dolphins. Cooked the Dolphins and cooked the Jets so bad that Drake Maye went to the locker room early, showered. He was ready for the plane by the time that the game was over.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about, who does Maye have in the receiving core? And this is no slight at Diggs, who's had a phenomenal season, and Hunter Henry. But that's not Puka Nacua, who's going to be first-team All-Pro this year. That's not Devontae Adams. He's not playing with those guys on the outside. Don't get me wrong, Kayshon Boutte's had a great season, and so is Stephon Diggs. But imagine Drake Maye with talent like that. Also, the Rams' offensive line pass blocking has been phenomenal. Drake Maye, his rookie left tackle, missed parts of the season, struggled to start the season off too. This was supposed to be a Patriots-Chargers breakdown. I think we know what the deal is, though.
Yeah. I think, and we can segue into this because you talked about it pregame, but also like it's obviously prevalent to the games and the playoffs and the teams with the turnarounds, which is leadership. So we could segue a little bit into why leadership is so important, clearly, right? In fact, there's some big coaches that got let go recently, as in Harbaugh over there, and
Carroll.
Baltimore. Exactly. You got to have the right leader in the right situation, and you can see the difference that it makes. 3 of those teams with the biggest turnarounds with the Bears, the Patriots, and why is the other one slipping from me right now?
Jaguars.
The Jaguars. And I think we have the best coach in the league. So, that's another another chalk or tally for us for that game, in my opinion. But talking a little bit more about leadership, when you have a great leader that can lead a bunch of individuals and make that culture a team culture of winning, like I know you hear it a lot, and it's a lot of cliche when they talk. But even Diggs in his interviews, I'm paying closely attention to his body language and how he responds to questions, and it's just like he's clearly a leader within that team. And shout out to Diggs because I know that he's not at the Puka level, especially at this point in his career. But he's the first Patriot receiver since Edelman to have 1,000 yards, which is phenomenal, and coming off a torn ACL midway through the season. So, I like where we are. I'm a believer in this team. That's why I picked them, and I'm getting a Drake May rivalry jersey. No, just playing.
Insane.
It's fire though. I'm excited for this Sunday to watch some games.
I think if you look at the Bears, 5-12 to 11-6, the Jags 4-13 to 13-4. Now the Patriots 4-13 to 14-3. The biggest changes they made in the offseason was bringing in a new head coach, Ben Johnson in Chicago, Liam Cohen in Jacksonville, and obviously Mike Vrabel. But it wasn't just, all right, we're going to bring in different players. Obviously that matters. But it's also, you have to remember, I mean, outside the Patriots who were bad, ever since that it was 2020 they made the playoffs for Mac Jones. I think it was 2020. They were terrible. You guys were terrible until this season. The Jags, ever since that one season where they made the playoffs where the Chargers collapsed in the second half, they were bad. The Bears have been bad forever, it seems like. And so they're inheriting players who, unless they've come from outside and winning franchises, who haven't done a lot of winning in their career. A franchise, a fan base that hasn't experienced a lot of winning. And so it's not just trying to get the result to turn around. It's a lot of work. You got to turn the whole culture around. And it's also, and I think it's even trickier, especially in the Patriots, sense, because not so far removed from so much greatness. And you bring in a coach that was involved in the earlier part of the Patriots dynasty, the first half of it, where it's easy to kind of...
crazy to say the first half of a dynasty.
I mean, it spanned 2 decades, where it's easy to kind of rest on your laurels and say, like, this is what we were. We have this culture of excellence about us. And it's like, no, you don't. You do not have that culture of excellence anymore, right? Like, you don't. That's been long gone. So now you have this guy who comes into the building and instantly changes it around already. I think that's obviously speaks to the leadership. It speaks to the players for buying into the message as well. I mean, that's major, right? The leader, obviously, but players need to follow that.
Speaking of which, mark my words. Mark my words, brother. You're gonna realize. People are gonna realize who the fuck Chisholm is.
He had a game. He had a chance. He had a chance.
I'm telling you, that boy is good.
He's nice.
He is good, and I'm excited to watch what he does in the field.
That's the thing. Like when you get a chance, because he's playing, behind some great talent at the wide receiver position for New England. So it's gonna be exciting to watch. I mean, to the LA Charger fans, I mean, is there a chance that they win this game? The formula is the Patriots' weakness is, they're susceptible to getting ran on.
Run. Yeah,
that's your chance. So Hampton has a big game. The combo of Hampton and Vidal, if you're able to get that going, some play action off of that, that's really the chance. But if you get behind and the running game becomes, you have to pass your way back into the game, no, it's not gonna be fun. So, and they're also decimated by offensive line injuries.
That's true. That's true.
I don't envision them coming out.
That's actually what, if I'm being honest with you, because I'm big on Herbert, although you think he sucks.
I don't think he sucks. I think people milk him, is what I think. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I gave up hope. On the Chargers when all they was having all the offensive line issues. That's tough. That's very tough to overcome.
Yeah, both your tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're snake bitten. Chargers are snake bitten.
Why
The
that
good
I
news for
instantly thought
them,
of our Oregon Trail.
I don't know what you think of that, but the good news for them is they're not snake bitten like the Jets. You know, shout out to the Jets making history, by the way, before we move on. First team ever to not record a single interception in the season.
Phenomenal.
You
know what's crazy? I don't know if it's true. You can look it up, but it said Garrett Wilson.
It's true.
Is the leading receiver.
He hasn't played since like week 5.
October. Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
It's true.
That is crazy.
True.
That's actually disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm definitely excited to see this week of wild card games. Like I said, I hope Carolina wins. I don't think it's going to happen. I really expect what we're going to see next after we come back and we're recording, whether that's Monday night or Tuesday, is, first, of course, you're going to be celebrating a Patriots win. There's going to be a lot of broken hearts in Carolina, in Chicago, in San Francisco. And I'm curious about this. Hold on. Moving away from the playoffs, because you mentioned a lot of, there's some coaches fired. Obviously, Pete Carroll is one. I don't think this was surprising, but it's still a big name, which is John Harbaugh. So, and I think he's kept his job for so long because of two things. One, being a Super Bowl winning coach grants you a lot of latitude. Two, they've been competitive. Some playoff runs, typically making it to the second round or deeper. But, I think it was the right move for Baltimore. Something had to change. And typically, if you want to shake things up, it's either the coach or the quarterback. And you're not going to move away from Lamar Jackson.
No. You're not going to – I think Lamar Jackson prolonged Harbaugh's
for sure
stay in Baltimore. And we talked about it. I think that actually you stressed it a lot, which is why did they get away from the game plan that got them to all these places and all these wins when it comes down to it, when they get away from the run? So that's not on Lamar. He's not the play caller. Obviously, I would assume he has some leeway to make changes at the line, but ultimately they're going away from that. In crucial moments, we're like, what are they doing? But, I think you're right. Sometimes, and we kind of talked about this a couple of episodes back, is like, when do you move on?
Right.
You've had success with this person, right? He's great individual, got us some accolades at Super Bowl, but when is enough enough? This is another great segue. Like, when do you stop settling? When do you stop settling? You and I think this comes in play with friendships, partnerships, relationships. You have all these great moments with people. When do you move on from the fact that they're actually more detrimental to what you got going on in life now?
Wow. What a segue. Holy shit. I was not expecting a deep question off of John Harbaugh. But
I apologize. You know where my heart is good. Now. It's not as
I love
involved.
It.
All right.
I love it. Man, that's a great question. Like, when? I don't know. I don't know if there's ever like a set period of time. I think it's obviously situation, by situation basis. But I think it's when you do, and we talked about this. And what's crazy is this show's probably going to come out before the one that we recorded a couple days ago, because football is time sensitive. I think it's when you're doing that reflection period, like you're sitting down, you're thinking about it. It's like, man, I don't like the "what have you done for me lately" mentality, but it's, man, what you've done lately has been a lot of bad or not so great. It's not healthy, whatever it is. I think it's this. I'll sit my answer instead of dancing around the question now. I think once you identify that there's a problem, you need to be able to talk about it, right? And if it's a relationship and you think this is a good person, then they should be open to talking about that. And if they're not talking about that, then that's a flag. And then there's a different problem. But if you bring it up, you have a conversation, you talk about it, and the person's like, you know what, you're right, and they still keep doing the thing that they're doing, then they just prove that whatever they're doing is more important than your relationship to them, right? Like they value that thing more. So, I mean, I'll give a personal example. And I told this to my wife when we met. I was like, I love you, when we got serious. But I was like, I need you to understand that there's something that will always come before you. And that's, my faith in church. And so that will never change. And if that's ever a problem and it ever comes to a decision, then there's no decision. So it's just, that is what it is, that is what it is. And it should never come to it. But I'm choosing that over what we have. So that just, to that point, it just kind of shows. So you should be able to have the conversation. And if things don't change, then I think they've kind of made it easier for you, if that makes sense.
It does. That makes
Time
sense.
to move on.
And that was really well answered for being put on the spot with such an intricate question, I would say.
I tap dance around a question for too long. I think I'll edit that part out. So, some people think I'm a quick thinker.
That's funny. No, that was really well said. There's a lot of things that transpired that's like sometimes, and I think I alluded to this at one, I think the last episode, which won't come out till after this, but it's like putting other people first can be very detrimental. And then holding on to the good moments or the great times or the feeling that you've had before can also be detrimental. Especially if you're not experiencing that at the moment, right? So you start to wonder, like, well, first and foremost, you can only really control what you do as a person. I can't control anybody else's actions or their responses or any of that.
Right.
All I can control is what I can control. So having the awareness behind it clearly, which is what I'm talking about, of understanding, like, maybe I'm holding on to something or in hopes of something panning out or whatever the case may be. When do I say, okay, this isn't, or this is not what it was, and move forward? And then how do I move forward? Do I just disconnect and separate myself, which is probably not the greatest thing, right? Because it's like not fair, but at the same time, it's a cloudy vision, I guess, especially when you're going through shit like I am.
Oh, I think, man, damn, bro, what's in that glass you're drinking? Is it starting to kick in? It's starting to kick in.
This is 10-year-old 1924 Old Forester, brother.
Jeez.
100 proof.
I need some of that when I'm going to brainstorm. So a couple of things you said that I thought was interesting. The first thing is like the good times, the good memories, holding on to. Because like you said, in the Harbaugh situation, sometimes that keeps people around for longer. You get more latitude. That person has more latitude with you. I think the thing to remember or to try to remind yourself or think about is things change. People change. That's not the same person anymore, right? Like when me and my wife first met, she's not the same person. I'm not the same person. Now we've changed, but we've changed to go more like this, right? Where over time, especially if you're not having constant communication, talking about goals, what you want to achieve, aligning yourselves, you start to go like this, right? You're two separate people at that point. And so you start to separate. And so the memories that you had are not with the person in front of you. Physically, it's the same person in front of you, but it's not the same person in front of you anymore. It's different. And so I think to what you said is, how do you know, like, what's the right thing? I mean, I think you take an approach like you would take at work, as what you do as a leader, which is nothing should ever come to a surprise to that person that you're separating from. Like we always talked about it, like, am I disappointed by a result? Yeah. everybody has the right to be disappointed by something. If you're ending a relationship or someone's getting let go or it's a tough feedback conversation, but no one should ever be surprised by that, because we would have had other conversations before it led to that, right? And in the case of separating from an employee, you would have had multiple conversations. In fact, you typically have to have multiple conversations if it's performance related, right? So bringing that to the personal life, like I said, if you're having an open communication with people and you guys are both, you're in a loving, caring relationship, or even if you're not, if you're just a loving, caring person, you probably would have had or attempted to have conversations with that person, like, hey, what you're doing is hurting me. This is what it is, And if they're a good person, they're like, wow, I didn't even realize that I'm doing that and it's bothering you. Let me change it. Like, give me time. I'm going to try to change, hold me accountable. And if they're like, you know what? Or they can come back and say, you know what? I'm not going to change. And they just told you that whatever that is, they value more than having you around. And you got to respect that.
And I don't think you even want to be in a position where if that's the case, you don't even want to really be in that situation. But I got a question for you, because that was you said something and it was like, they change or people change. And what if you're the one changing too, right? And not necessarily.
Yes.
When people hear change, sometimes especially in that light, it's taken out of like, oh, he's changed, like he's not the same person in a negative way.
I hear what you're saying.
But I'm trying to change for growth, right? Like I've talked about it. Like I'm trying to change for the betterment. So what happens, and you could tell me if this happened with you and your wife or any friendship or whatever the case, because it's not anything specific, but what if you're trying to make all the changes for the right reasons, but it's either taken wrong or taken as disrespect or taken as not for the betterment of that partnership, relationship, friendship, or whatever?
Oof. See, that's a tricky one, because here's the thing. I'll start with this. If you're in Connecticut and you're trying to get to New York, what highway are you going to take?
I'm trying to avoid 95 at all costs.
Well, the GPS is going to tell you what. 95 South, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to hitch a ride with somebody that's going to Boston, taking 95 North, right? Doesn't make sense.
Okay. We're on two different paths.
We're on two different paths. Is it offensive to you if I'm saying, if you offer me a ride and then you tell me, oh, no, you get on 95 North, I'm like, no, I'm trying to go to New York. Is that offensive? No, it's not offensive. I know if I say, man, you stupid as shit. We're supposed to be going south, dummy. No, but if you're like, hey, listen, I'm trying to go this way, you're trying to go that way, we're not going in the same direction. So the best thing to do would be you get your own ride, I get my own ride, we go separate ways, we both get to where we want to go. And if they take that as disrespect, then it shouldn't be disrespectful. It's like, hey, listen, I think it's only disrespectful if it's someone that you say you care about and you don't make an attempt to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on. This not what I'm feeling. Fuck the feeling part. This is what I'm experiencing. Like, this is a matter of fact. It's not my opinion. These are the things that you're doing. Yeah. Now, granted, again, like I said, if they don't know that they're doing it, like, oh shit, my bad. I didn't realize that I was on 95 for whatever reason, right? I didn't realize I took the wrong exit. I got on 95 North instead of getting on South, my bad. But if you tell me that, like, hey, we're supposed to be going to New York, 95 South, and I continue to go north, then that tells you all you need to know. And they can take it how they want to take it.
What if you're both traveling the same place?
Then
the disconnect. So my
now there's a way to work. Now there's a way to work that.
Okay, like what? Communication is my opinion is communication.
Right.
Talk about what you got to talk about.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I guess I'm just trying to think of.
See, the thing is, you said like you're both going in the same direction. You both want the same end goal. So that's where it starts. Now you guys might have different ways of getting, like you said, I don't want it. You try to avoid 95. So maybe you'll hop on the Merit as soon as you can. Right. And maybe I want to stay on 95, but at least we both know we're trying to get to the same place. So now let's talk about it. Now, if I'm unwilling to talk about it, again, that's a separate conversation. I'm unwilling to change. So in this moment, we're both going the same way. But the moment, if we need to take a different way and I'm unwilling to change, now we're going to be going in two different directions again. Because I'm willing to change, you're not. You're going to stay on that path where I'm like, nah, I got to, this is not what I want to be a part of. I want you to come with me. I want to stick with you. But like you said, I can't control you. I can't force you to do that. Correct. So all we can do is talk about it. And if we can't come to an agreement, then that is what it is.
That's fire. That was a fire response, bro. Great analogy, too. Something that people probably could relate to.
Facts. For my West Coasters, 95 is like I-5, you know, just so you know, throw that out there.
That was great, man.
No, I'm glad you appreciated that. That was a great question, by the way, because I think there are a lot of people. And you know what? To add to it real quick is, you know what I think the biggest reason why people continue to split apart, other than just one person is just not willing to change, is that fear comes in and you're scared to have the conversation when you notice that something's not going right. Because to your point, well, what if they think that I'm saying that they're the problem? What if they think I'm being an asshole? And also, like, when you tell somebody you love them, people think love is saying nice things to people all the time. Oh, I thought you loved me. Why are you saying this? Why do you say I need to change? But I would say the first step to all of it, to kind of tie it up, is you got to look at yourself first. Because, yeah, maybe they're doing something in you, but you should find out, are you doing something to prompt that response from them?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I gave the analogy before, and I know I got laughed at, but if my wife all of a sudden just spazzes on me because whatever happens, let's say she trips over my sandal because I left it in front of our bedroom door, which I tend to do sometimes.
Because I knew that was a real thing.
Listen, I always go in to the room before I leave for work to give her a kiss, saying, hey, all right, love you, I'm leaving, I'll see you later. I never leave my house without doing that. And but I always wear sandals around the house. So sometimes, you know, I might forget and leave it in front of there. And I don't have the lights on because it's dark. My kids are sleeping. I'm not going to get into that. But let's say, you know, she trips on that. And when I get home, she spazzes on me. And I'm like, dang, you freaking over a sandal. But one, she's probably told me that like 500 times not to leave my sandal there. Also, I probably didn't see all the other little things that I was doing that was pissing her off, like leaving the cap off the toothpaste, leaving the shower curtain open, you know, not putting my comb for my beard back in the right spot. These are all real things, by the way. That's why I'm being hyper specific.
I could tell.
Right? But so I might be focused on, damn, she spazzed on me just for a sandal. But I didn't see everything else that was leading up to that. She could have tripped on that sandal 500 times before she spazzed on me. And I could have left the toothpaste cap off the toothpaste a whole bunch of times before. But because she didn't come to me early and say, hey, this is bothering me, I didn't think about it, right? And then now, it all comes to a head, boom. So don't be afraid to go and have the conversation, even if you think it's something small, because it's easily correctable when it's small, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just hey, can you not put your sandal there? And now give me grace, right? Help continue to remind me, but until, you slip, you trip on the sandal, you bust your head on the table, and now it's a big deal, right? So
yeah, better to course correct sooner than later, pretty much.
Right. Don't wait 30 minutes into the drive to tell me that I'm on the wrong highway because you thought I knew what I was doing. Maybe I just made a mistake. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, or maybe because how many times do we do this, especially in when you get onto to 395 in right off 32 in Montville, where it splits 395 north, not 395 south, where if you're used to going one way all of the time, and this one specific time I got to take the other way, but muscle memory, I take the way that I normally go, I might not even notice it. So don't be afraid.
It's kind of ironic you said that as an analogy, because lately I've been just so in my own thoughts that it's been happening a lot lately where I'm missing the exit or I'm missing well, I'm supposed to turn. And I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I missed that. But, there's so much shit going on that you just lose focus.
Yeah.
So that was a great analogy. And ironic that happened. I appreciate this talk. I think that, again, I'm glad we talked some football because I do miss football. And it's the biggest time of the year for the football season. But I also was happy that we was able to transition and talk about the stuff we talk about now, which is the priority of our platform. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like we always said, there should be a message in everything that we talk about. Because there's a lot of people that do just sports talk and they're great at it and that's their lane. But like you told me before, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that our lane is something different than that. And it's to reach people in real situations. Because I think a lot of us, I think we both started the year not the way that we wanted to. And but like I said on the last episode, small wins, right? Getting on the episode, small win. Somebody listening to it. Listen, I have my guy. The reason we talk about football, shout out my guy Joel. He was like, I love the new format. I love to hear how you feel about Santa Claus. And he's like, but I do miss some of the football stuff, especially with the playoffs. He's like, please tell me you guys are going to talk a little playoff football. So like we promise, when big sports stuff happens, we'll talk about it, but we'll always have some kind of conversation like this to make sure that people get what they need to hear. I'm a big proponent of that. And whether it's just us talking to ourselves or whoever might stumble across it. So
big facts.
Big facts. All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Just a reminder, if you're not subscribed already, please do so, like I said at the top of the show. Also, leave a comment if anything we said resonated with you, or drop your game picks. That also works too, because we talk sports this time. So I'm going to make sure I say that. And as always, think critically, speak infamously. Love.